concerns. First one is the freedom of information. I met with Mr. Sabelico, and everything seems to be going good. I just want to point out that, you know, common sense, freedom of information, I'm looking for the original documents, not copies of things. I mean, I didn't want to be argumentative with Mr. Sabelico. I shouldn't be. He was a gentleman. He did, you know, we worked together pretty good. It's not, I'm sure it's not his doing, but I showed up to review building files, and there were 2 stacks of photographs. I mean, you know, in the future, I would just appreciate actually, I asked Tom, if you don't mind me calling you Tom, I'd like to come back and review the actual files. So we're working on that, so I just wanted to touch on that. The second thing I wanted to touch on was I had made a complaint back in August on Ms. Swanson, the town attorney. And, you know, I came up here last week, and I have to tell you, I'm really disappointed because, you know, the majority of you guys are attorneys, receiver of taxes. Tim Zeich works in the building department. You all sat there and swore that those lots were merged and gave me explanations. It turns out I have a similar lot. Tim even came in and said, you know, proclamation, there's a document in Ms. Swanson's file that shows that, you know, it's a lot line merger. In fact, I went to Nassau County, I pulled Ms. Swanson's deeds, right? There's no question the lots are not merged. In fact, there was a lot line adjustment done. Ms. Swanson's home is on lot 578. The lot that lay adjacent to her to the west was lot 571. She did a lot line adjustment to subdivide lot 571 into lot 596 and 597. Her garage is now on lot 596. My point is that lot line adjustment generated a resolution from the Nassau County Public Works. Okay, so Ms. Swanson knows, I have it right here with me. I'll show it to you if you like. Planning Commission.
Hold it.
I'm sorry.
Hold it up, guys. I don't want to lose control of the meeting.
Listen, I apologize.
No, don't apologize.
No, I misspoke. It wasn't Public Works. Let me pull the document out, so.
Doesn't matter. Just talk
Planning
to the
Commission.
board.
I don't want you to apologize again, please. But
Okay.
the other thing too is I don't think anybody up here swore that anything was a merger or anything else. We were kind of trying to guess at what the circumstances were. At least I'll speak for myself. I was trying to see what had happened. Nobody, I don't think,
Okay.
said I
I'm
swore
not-
that it's a merger.
I don't intend on re-arguing anything or re-arguing my complaint. I just want to bring it to your attention that they're not merged, okay? And a lot line adjustment, in my opinion, a lot line adjustment substantiates that there is prior knowledge that there is a procedure to do this. So we'll move on to that.
Some of us were hearing it for the first time, so I don't want you to think anyone's saying it had to be one way or the other. I didn't know myself. I don't know about anybody else.
You know, I appreciate that. I accept that answer, you know,
I was not trying to give you a definitive answer myself. I don't know
Thank you.
anybody else.
Thank you for clarifying that.
And Rob, I just want to be clear. What I said to you wasn't calling for an apology. I was just asking you to address the board so that we maintain decorum at the meeting. But on the topic, again, a subject, first of all, I understand this matter is now the subject of an inquiry by the Nassau County District Attorney's Office. So we'll wait for them to make their findings. I think that's the ultimate solution to the problem. However, having said that, and again, I think I said to you last time, I'm going to put my town attorney's hat on and try to remember. I wasn't able to advance it a whole lot, but I do believe that under the facts and circumstances presented in the Swanson matter, I do believe that lot 596 and lot 578 have merged. Now, I could be wrong, and we're going to find out, so we don't need to debate it. But I think if you check with any of the real estate wizards out there, the lawyers out there, I think they're going to tell you that under the facts and circumstances presented in the Swanson matter, that by operation of law, when both lots came under common ownership, I think you're going to find that they merged as a matter of law for zoning purposes. But again, well, I guess we'll await the outcome of whatever investigation is going on. In the meantime, I don't want you to invest any money in this, and nor do I want you to accept my word for it. But if you could, you know, make a quick phone call to one of the, to a reputable real estate attorney who does this kind of work, does a lot of zoning work, I think they're going to tell you that under the facts here and presented, the lots did merge by operation of law when they came under common ownership.
And that's what it, honestly, that's what it certainly seemed like to me last night.
I can just tell you, that according to the authority in the matter, which would be Nassau County, I've been to the assessor's office, I've been to their planning and building, and they are adamant that the lots have never been merged, they're individual, but
Yes,
like you said, that's for someone else to investigate.
Yes, they go, but I think what they're going to tell you is, from a bureaucratic standpoint, I'll give it to you in a minute, Jim, is that there was a lot 596, tax lot with a separate tax bill from tax lot 578. But I think you're going to find out if you make the inquiry, or if we await the findings from the district attorney's office, I think you're going to find that when the Swansons, because it was husband and wife, as I recall, when the Swansons became common owners of the two lots, that from a zoning standpoint, particularly since I believe the next lot is landlocked, as I recall, they did the right thing in putting the garage on that second lot, because the property is deemed to be merged for zoning purposes. For example, it would be my understanding they can't sell. I don't think they could sell the garage as a separate.
Well, at the county
Yes,
level,
they can.
they would still show independent lots at
Yes,
the county level.
at the county
So,
level, yes.
For zoning purposes, it can merge after the fact, so they still think they're dealing with separate lots.
Yes.
But in fact, a zoning merger has occurred
Well-
after the county level and at the town level.
If a zoning merger occurred, there would have to been some sort of variance and paperwork that merged it, right?
No, I don't think.
You just, it's
No,
just,
operation of the law.
it's just no document, no anything, it's just automatically
There's
considered.
really nothing to do.
Correct.
You
Yeah.
acquire two
No, that's
parcels next to each other, they merge if they're in common ownership. If they're in different ownership, like if Mr. and Mrs. Swanson own one and Mr. Swanson own the other, that's not common ownership. It has to be identical ownership.
Well, you know, when I first came up, I tried to make it clear, I didn't want to come up to dispute the legality or the right and wrong of an accusation. I just don't appreciate when, like, Tim Zeit comes up and says there's something in the file that says this, and it doesn't. It says something completely different. That's my.
Yeah, the other thing I'm not pointing the finger at anybody, and again, we still have to wait the results of the district attorney's investigation, but having said that, I think I would put you in, I'd be happy, I'm sure, that you get any number of real estate lawyers to chat with you
That's
without.
quite all right.
Yeah, but I want you to hear it though from an independent source. I think you're going to find that these lots, as a matter of law, have merged, but I thought I said this last time, maybe I didn't make it clear, and that for zoning purposes, everything is like, okay.
Okay,
But,
And the county may never change those lot numbers.
Yeah, they may never,
They
that's
just
true.
continue like that.
okay.
but wait, Jim
sorry, do you have
Stephens wants to.
Further point out the fact that my original read on this was that it was a merger. But when I looked at the tax records, they exist as lots, independent lots, but there's only one tax bill. The other lot has no assessed value, no taxes on it. So in effect, it looks like a merged lot, tax-wise.
All right. I don't want to say anything because I don't have documents with me, but okay, thank you. I know that you have a standpoint on legality with, I'm moving on if it's okay. I know you have a standpoint with, you know, the town's position with the SLB contracts and what's going, everything's going on, but I have some questions, and I don't think they really have anything to do with what's happening in court right now. I'd like to know, I wasn't aware that I actually had a copy of the October 30th agreement with Horrendous Singh for the golf course agreement. And I'd like to know, can you tell me
I'm
who's...
sorry, Rob, October 30th of what year?
2000.
Okay.
I wonder if you could tell me, who's been doing the waste removal for SLB?
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, if you have a company. If you don't, it's okay. If you have to find out, whatever.
Yeah, we're gonna have to find out, I have no idea.
All right, because I just understand that a couple of years ago, the town had to put some trash compactors down in Tow Bay because the restaurants generate so much refuse, and SLB is dumping directly into the contractors. I would assume the town is emptying the contractors, and according to the contract, he's supposed to be paying for his own waste removal.
Yeah, I have no idea, we'll have to find out.
That's no problem. I don't know if you remember, back in 2000, I'll give you a copy copy of it. There was a rider that was produced, and it's signed by you, Mr. Vendetta, and Mr. Singh. I'd just like to know, was there a resolution behind it? Maybe you recall, maybe you don't, maybe you could find out for me.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna have to.
You know, just later on, I don't expect you to know.
I have about, like of every resolution that's ever come before the town board, I have like a 99% retention rate.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. Maybe you could just look that up for me.
No, I'll find out, Bob.
That's no problem. Listen, I wanted us to speak quickly about, sorry. Right. Okay. There's a clause in the contract, transfer of assignment. I'm not going to read the thing, but the bottom line is that it would have been okay for SRB to sell a portion of their, bless you, to sell a portion of their interest. However, they couldn't do it without the town's permission, okay? The town, I gotta read it. It says, "The concessionaire may not assign or otherwise transfer all or any part of its interest in this agreement in the premises without the prior written consent of the town, which consent will not be unreasonably withheld." And it goes on to say, "Provided, however, that the concessionaire may assign its interest to any person, corporation, or financing entity who he owes money to," basically. So my point is that...
Well, I'm sorry, Rob, what are you reading from? What?
Oh, this is the 2000 agreement, October 30th, 2000 agreement?
Okay.
So my point is that I understand that Mr. Chorper and another entity, another person have purchased an interest in SLB concessions. Ms. Singh, Ruby Singh owns a portion, they own the other two portions. But this couldn't happen without the town's approval. I don't believe that it happened I don't believe that it happened like in the last couple of weeks. Okay, I get the impression from what I'm hearing at the meetings that it's almost as if the golf course is trying to invent a new persona where there's nobody connected to SRB operating the golf course. When the fact is that Mr. Chorper, either with or without your approval, at some time purchased an interest in this, and it's still SRB. Just because in my, and I don't want to say, I don't want to insult anybody, but just because a dummy corporation was started in November to run the concession under now, I mean, that's right out there. So I don't understand how Mr. Chorper, or I'd like to know if you guys agreed for the, at some time, for the purchase for Singh to sell a portion of his interest.
Not to, I don't want to be argumentative at all. I think I covered most of this in the statement I made to Bob Fryer earlier. I'll just add this for what it's worth. You have a 2000 agreement there. I think it's probably a multi-page document. How many pages is it? It's probably very...
It's like 30 pages.
30 pages. There have been, over the years, so we're going back 15 years, there have probably been any number of riders, amendments, changes, things of that nature. So something like this really would have to be looked at. And by the way, don't read anything into this, but because we may have a right under a contract, doesn't necessarily mean we have to enforce that right. If there's a higher priority, as I indicated earlier, perhaps that enters into it as well. But there's a lot involved, going back to 2000 and tracing the history, so you'll have to indulge us.
My point is, though, that you do have an opportunity to vet people that would be interested in purchasing into the deal.
Oh, yeah.
That's my point.
Let me tell you something. That's ongoing.
So Chopper...
Rob, hear me on
Sorry, go ahead.
That's ongoing as we speak. Just keep in mind what I said earlier about what the highest priorities are.
Okay. I also noticed that there's a paragraph, it's a paragraph 38, accounting, where the town, you have the authority, it says, "The concessionaire shall keep books and records of account in accordance with the generally accepted accounting procedures. On or before the first day of April of each calendar year of this agreement, the concessionaire shall provide the town with a copy of a statement of income and balance sheet. In accordance with the uniform system of accounts or other previously approved format covering the operation of the licensed premises for the previous calendar year. It says, "The concessionaire shall permit the town or its authorized representatives to inspect and audit appropriate books and records at any reasonable time during business hours after giving 24-hour notice." So I'd like to know, during this whole period, I mean, we're doing business with them from 2000, has the town ever performed an audit and accounting of his books?
I need some help with that. I don't know. We'd love to find out. I guess I'll have to contact the control with that.
Okay. Just two more things, and I'll get
Yeah, I
out
would
of here.
appreciate it. For personal reasons, if you could.
We spoke last meeting about capital improvements. And I understand that the town is now, you mentioned that you're trying to get together the actual capital improvements that are done and everything, and we're trying to come to terms on what credit we gave him, what was actually spent. What I find ironic is, in this contract, there's, on page 20 of the contract, it's paragraph 39, there's an actual agreement, an actual list of capital improvements that were supposed to be performed within 3 years. SRB was supposed to spend $2,097,000. They were supposed to do all new windows and doors. This is in the golf course only. All new windows and doors. They were supposed to construct an atrium on the east side and south side of the clubhouse. They were supposed to construct a 1,200 square foot atrium off the grill room. They were supposed to totally renovate the grill room. They were supposed to build a construction wine bar. They were supposed to construct outside service facilities to better serve golfers. They were supposed to add storage facilities. They were supposed to renovate and remodel the upstairs dining room. They were supposed to redo the main staircase. They were supposed to install tile floor in the sunroom. They were supposed to upgrade all the fireplaces. They were supposed to repaint and wallpaper the entire premises. They were supposed to install new carpeting. They were supposed to complete landscaping in the front circle and the rear side of the clubhouse. And they were supposed to do some sort of deco package. Now, just to jump ahead to 208, the town gave credit in 208 to SRB as having performed $751,637.50 in capital improvements. It doesn't seem like a rounded number. It seems like an exact number. So what my questions are, I'd like to know, how did we continue, or did we verify that all this work was done prior to extending the contracts, moving on after the 3 years? And I'd like to know if any of this work was ever done, and I'd like to know how we came up with the $751,000 back in 2008, and if that's I mean, are we now working from that number on to determine how much in capital improvements have really been done? I'm sorry, I was wondering, I don't know if it was a question, I don't know if you got it or not. Is the $751,000, is that a real number, and now we're figuring from there on how much you did? Or?
I'm sorry, I apologize. I think when you're talking about, a contract that spanned 15 years or so, whatever, I don't personally have it committed to memory. I doubt that anyone in this room does, but we will get you your answer.
Okay, just one last thing, and I really think that this is pretty important. I don't understand what happened with this at all. This is page 22 of that same document. It's subparagraph H. Excuse me for a second.
That's right.
Sorry. Okay. Subparagraph H reads, concessionaire and Harinder Singh individually agree to hold themselves liable for the payment of all materials, labor, and other expenses incurred as a result of the capital improvements. It being the intention of the parties that this provision shall be in lieu of a construction bond. I'd like to know, why in the world would we ever allow a project like this to begin without a bond, without a surety of construction bond? I mean, there is no reason, there is no benefit for the town at all to allow any contractor to do any work without a bond. I mean, it gives them everything. They don't have to pay a percentage for the bond, and that, I mean, if we would have got a construction bond, we wouldn't even be talking about capital improvements now. They'd all be covered, right?
Well, again, I have to give you the same answer, but
Okay, I understand, I know that you're under a lot of, you know, I don't want to use the word duress, but with everything going on, I know there's not much you could say, but, you know, I just felt it was important to come up and bring these items to your attention and ask you the questions.
You don't have to justify your appearance, and you don't have to justify your questions and the information you're seeking. I just have to respect the fact that, you know, when you're talking about a comprehensive 15-year or more now history, we'd have to go back and look at the, we don't even have the contracts here.
No, I understand what you're saying,
Look
but,
at the-
you know, just understand.
You gotta let me finish talking.
I'm sorry, John.
We'd have to go back and, you know, go through the history to see if the provisions you're reading are still in force and effect, whether or not the work was actually done, like, you know, the same inquiries that you made. So give us an opportunity, we'll take a look at it.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Robert, thank you very much. Bob Fry, do you want this back, the council manager? Sure, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for participating